You're this perp back with another video, and I just got done watching American Horror Story 1984 episode 2, or also known as season 9 of American Horror Story. Now we have a lot to break down. A lot went down in this episode, and I think it's going to end off on a high note for this season overall. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, because I'm gonna be talking about American Horror Story throughout this whole season. And just let me know how you feel about this episode in the comments below. And also follow me on Twitter at PerpMinded, and let's get right into this video. So in the preview that they showed, we saw that the psychiatrist or whatever was gonna go check out this camp because she found out about it in the first episode. So she pops up at the cabin that Margaret is staying at. She pops up, and she's just got this really eerie vibe to her. She's definitely suspect, without a doubt, and she's trying to let her know that Mr. Jangles has escaped from the nut house, and she doesn't really seem fazed about that. That's why it's really odd that, Margaret is acting this way. Meanwhile, she dips, does the stupidest thing imaginable, and this is why I like about this season, because it is paying homage to slashers. And if you know anything about slashers, they have some pretty dumb characters, and they make some dumb choices, like hanging your head out the window while a killer just pulls up. Like a random tow truck pulls up, and you don't think that's not suspicious. You don't get out your car or nothing. Yeah, she deserved to die. But pretty much, the psychiatrist is dead. Mr. Jangles killed him. She's gone. Back at the cabin, you got Brooke pretty much kind of being paranoid because of all the stuff that's happened to her. And boy, do we get some interesting backstory on Brooke. And, she sees this report on the news and starts panicking. And then nobody sees it on the television and just makes her look crazy. Margaret comes in there and kicks everybody out. Then we get this moment with Brooke and Montana, and they're just kind of talking. And Montana really just wants to make sure Brooke is okay. And even sort of flirts with Brooke at the same time. But this is where I say we get some really interesting backstory on Brooke herself and what she's gone through. And we get this flashback to last summer where she was actually going to get married. And I want to say Emma looks really, really beautiful in that wedding dress. I gotta say that straight up. She looked good. But she ended up marrying a crazy dude. I guess they were both saving themselves for marriage. And he's very jealous. And he sees this dude that's one of the grooms, I guess, or some shit like that, looking at her weird. And he automatically just offs her pops. And she's devastated. And it was crazy. And it's like that happened last summer. And you see so much shit she's going through, but I think there's more to this whole story, but we're gonna have to wait to see how that plays out. So also more reveals. For some odd reason, Margaret turns off all the lights and shit goes black around the campus. Xavier gets snatched up by this dude that was the guy that was on the phone in the first episode when they went to the gas station. And he's pretty much threatening to blackmail him because Xavier did, I guess, a gay porno or something like that, and this guy's trying to force him back in or something like that. Something weird. This guy is a whole weirdo. This guy Blake, yeah, that's what his name was, Blake. But Xavier pretty much shows him to the campus and where he can get something off or whatever. Just, I don't know. It was really weird, but he ends up dead, gets stabbed in the eye, because Xavier pretty much dips on him, and he knows that he's a kind of a weirdo and he's off. But then we get to a scene with Brooke getting approached by the Night Stalker. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how she didn't get killed in this moment. This Night Stalker dude is not that good at killing females. Obviously, he failed the first time, now he failed again. And, you know, she goes off a run, but before he can catch up to her, that camper that you saw that Xavier hit pops up and kind of tackles him out of the way, and the Night Stalker pretty much kills this guy. But it's not the last that you've seen of him, because he says something interesting that, you know, was very vintage, you know, American Horror Story. If you've been watching all the seasons, he tells him, you know, this is not where I'm supposed to die at. So then we get a scene where the nurse going head to head. Well, we don't get to see it because they cut away from it, but she has an encounter with Mr. Jangles, and we'll get back to her character very shortly. But, you know, Brooke is still getting chased by this Night Stalker dude, but she uses the payphone to try to call 911. Doesn't work. Runs into Montana, while the Night Stalker runs into the camper once again, and he's kind of shocked, like, I thought I killed you. And he tries to kill him again, and he does it in such a savage way. It's pretty crazy, and it just leaves him kind of scratching his head, like, what the fuck is going on? How is he still alive? I killed him twice. And we'll also get back to that very shortly. So the rest of the gang, they find out that the dude that was looking for Xavier is dead. They all see that he's dead, so they know that there's two killers out there. They tried to head to the van to dip and go get help. Meanwhile, back at Margaret's cabin, gets a visit by the Night Stalker, and he wants answers. And this is the most interesting part of this episode to me. I thought this was the highlight of tonight's episode, of them having this conversation on who this person is, and just, you know, the difference between their beliefs. And we even get a backstory on Richard and how he grew up and how he had seizures. Now, I don't know if this is exaggerated or if this is an actual thing that happened to him. Let me know in the comments below for anybody that looks into serial killers like that. Like, I know this guy is based off a real serial killer, but I really like how these two were having a conversation just about everything, their beliefs, and, like I was saying, just everything. And you really get a sense of where Margaret is in her head, and, you know, tells him to pretty much kill this dude that's out there that's trying to harm these kids, kind of just getting him out the way for the meantime. Which I like the Night Stalker. I wish he was kind of the main dude, the main kind of like killer / stalker kind of guy, but we just gotta wait and see how that plays out with him. So back with their main group, they get the car to run. They take off, but they almost hit the nurse, and Xavier crashes again into something else that fucks up the car. So they have to split up into different groups, which I was kind of surprised that they ended up taking that route, you know. So they have to go get two different, you know, vehicles, but the keys are back at the cabins, so they have to split up into two different groups. And I thought that was pretty interesting, and because usually you have groups just split up one by one like some dumb shit. Anywho, Margaret runs into the camper, and the camper recognizes her from the 1970s, and we just get it's so interesting, and we just get a little bit more backstory on how he died pretty much, and now how he's stuck at this camp, like his spirit is stuck at this camp. And We get some really creepy shit from Margaret, which I love, and I want to find out more about her character, because I feel like I have this feeling that she is the mastermind behind everything, but we're not really going to see her true intentions until a little bit later. So back at the separate cabins, they're all split up. You got Xavier kind of freaking out, telling everybody what's going on, that person that we found that was dead, I had something to do with that. I brought that here, and he's kind of just blaming himself. And same thing goes with Brooke. She's kind of freaking out, but they're pretty much stuck now, because now they have to deal with 2 killers that are at this campus, or this campground. And I thought the kids were supposed to show up the next day. I don't know, that was kind of weird to me. Maybe they're trying to throw us all off, and maybe the nurse and Trevor, I think that was his name, was Trevor, and just they're all in on it. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments below? I think this was a really good episode. Let me know what you guys think. Until next week, I'll check you all out later. Peace.
What made that comedian different from that comedian? And it was the strength, the inner strength, the style, the confidence they had, not being afraid to fail. And if I can transcend that to a lot of people, whatever, it might not be comedy, it might be in the workplace, to give them that drive. That's when I ain't scared of you came from. You can't be afraid.